10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
And hello to you, the drag racing fan on the competitionplus.com audiences of Facebook, YouTube, and also the world of Twitter. I'm Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer. This is the Competition Plus Power Hour. Let me say, before we dive into it, it is a privilege and an honor to talk drag racing with you all regularly. Hit the like button, hit the share button as we chat on drag racing once again on a Tuesday night right here on competitionplus.com. I'm not doing it alone. My co-host, Slammin' Sam, Mr. Sam Smith, along with me this evening per usual. Sam, drag racing. There's more to talk about as usual.
Hey, I'm just going to say this. If this doesn't drop a hint of maybe something we're going to talk about, maybe you can see it, but I'd smoke that. A little smoke action, and we're not talking, maybe we're talking about the barbecue grill. I don't know, but man, drag racing is like not great again, but drag racing is like the bee's knees. The old school word, it's the throwdown. I think drag racing is being talked about more than the Super Bowl that just passed.
Hey, as they used to say in the Ford Motor Company in the early drag racing days and around motorsports, it's the going thing.
I think drag racing was involved in the Super Bowl too this year.
Hey, Doug Core, he's bringing back some old sayings right there. It's far out, man.
It's radical. Let's just think about this, Lee. This is episode what? 115, right?
Yes.
I've missed a few. You've been gone for a few. But when we originally sat down to start on this whole journey of hey, let's do a podcast. Let's talk drag racing on Tuesday nights, right? Were you ever expecting us to sit here and be like, if we go back and had a day where we recap some of our early episodes and we were like, man, drag racing right now, it's on the move up. It's a grind. It's not your everyday cornerstone talk about. And now, the press releases, the information that we're getting, the hard knocks behind the looks, look into these guys and girls' lives of what they're doing in drag racing. Would you ever had, thought we would be at this point?
Well, we had this show start with Bobby's blessing on his platform, and it wasn't, that far away from COVID and where is drag racing going to go and what's going to happen. I think drag racing is in a great place right now, and not just NHRA drag racing. I know we talk about NHRA drag racing a lot here, so which rightfully so. It is the big show, but look what's even happening with Chris Graves and Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos. That's expanding. They're growing. More money is there. You got the World Series of Pro Mod, huge purse going to be down there. Biggest purse in March Meet history is going to be taking place for their 65th anniversary coming up in just a couple of weeks. Drag racing is doing well, and it is on the rise. And as announced, a particular individual said, hey, I'm going to be doing the full pool in a certain class. And he made mention at the Nevada Nationals, that, hey, I really like what's happening here more than anywhere where there's got fenders on the cars.
And I'm going to say this because there was an episode earlier in this mention that backed me into a corner. Amanda Busick was on, and I'm not going to mention the other person's name, but I kind of got backed into a corner and thrown a 1-2 punch. But I'm here today to say, every great champion, every great belt holder and title holder at some point has been in that position where he felt like he was in the corner. But at some point they stand tall and say, you know what, I'm victorious and I was correct. So for all that are saying in the comments, Mr. Bobby Bennett, that's behind the keyboard, that's saying that there. Yeah, I may have gotten the right jab, but Mama didn't raise no fool. I'll put the blocker up real quick. You may knock me down one time, but you ain't gonna hold me there. And I was correct. So Lee, I'm thinking you owe me an apology too. You kind of set me up and left me out to dry.
I did not know what to do for you on that one, man. Nor did Amanda. It was just like you bit back into it. People can go watch that episode with Frank Holly. You bit on back into it. Oh wow! Now
I think we need a redemption. We need a redemption interview there. You know
we do. We need to have Frank on. He's probably got a lot more stories to tell us since then, and from not just the school but in his career. It'd be good to have him back on for sure. So. We're talking about, obviously, Tony Stewart. That's dropped today that he is going to make a full pull in the top alcohol dragster ranks with the McPhillip boys in their A-Fuel dragster. Top-notch quality ride. He almost got the win there at the Nevada Nationals, though Madison Payne stood in his way, and she got her first national event win in the class. I think that's going to put a great spotlight on that class with Tony being in it. And it is great to have this big name in motorsports that has done so much say, I want to do more in the world of NHRA drag racing. And I'm looking forward to most of all, Sam, if he's going to be doing the full pull and attempting to run for a championship, I expect him to also go to tracks that, well, you wouldn't expect him to show up to, because in running for a championship in top alcohol dragster in the Lucas Oil ranks, it's not all about national events. There's also regionals that you've got to compete at. So we'll see Tony at little tracks that don't get a lot of exposure, but he's going to be there. So you never know what that could do for a little track. It's going to be kind of cool.
No, and what I like the most about this, because he easily could have said, you know what, I wanna go and run the national events only, and I'm gonna go and just run, top fuel. Like, I mean, he's got the resources, he got the finances, and he's got the, driving skill to do that. But I mean, I think it's a little bit more for me, a respect factor right there of him saying, you know what, top alcohol dragster, here we go. Like, this is where I want to be. And I think too, it's respect for the class. He wants to learn the ranks, the inside and out, get the feel of the car. And I think he got a good glimpse of that down there in Nevada. And I think, he wants to say, okay, let me give this a full pull and see what it's like, and learn the tire shake and learn these different things that he can learn, instead of just jumping right into, a nitro car. And like I said, again, easily he could do that. He has the resources. And I think too, he probably had a lot of conversation with his wife, Leah, and saying, hey, what do you think about this? And I just think it's a very smart move on his behalf, and a respect factor that he has for drag racing after being involved with it now for, more than a year. I think, he really respects it, and he's saying, you know what, I'm gonna start here and then potentially move up.
Yes, and he has been adamant about that, respecting the sport. He could jump into Top Fuel and be competitive, I think, right now. He obviously can drive a Top Fuel dragster. I have footage of him in testing on my own channel. I've seen it. I've seen him go through tire shake and pedal a Top Fuel dragster. He can do it. I've seen it with my own eyes. He could run Top Fuel right now, but I appreciate the respect he's got for the sport. And just like any other form of motorsports, there are levels, there's tiers, and you don't step directly into F1. There's F3 and there's F2, and you don't go straight to MotoGP. There's Moto 3 and so on. You go through the process and the ranks, and taking time behind the wheel for a whole year in an A-Fuel dragster, that's definitely going to get you prepared for Top Fuel. And I fully expect
100%.
that we will see him in a top field dragster in NHRA Camping World competition. Maybe not full time, but I expect to see it.
No, and I mean, like I said, I mean, it just comes down to 100%, and he said it himself. He respects it. He has respect for the drivers in it. And I just, like, for me, 100%, when I saw the kind of, news coming, you kind of put two and two together, right? You hear rumblings, especially being in the media world, you hear stuff, you see stuff. And I was like, well, okay, what is he going to do here? Like, which avenue is he going to go? And then I just think it's the right way to do it. I mean, you're not going to step out onto a football field and go and play in the Super Bowl. No, you have to go through the proper steps, and that's what he's doing. So, I mean, here it is. No matter what, I think it's great light on that class, especially the sportsman class there. I think it's a great light there. And it's going to bring, more attention to top alcohol dragster. And I mean, that there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, and there are articles out. You can read on competitionplus.com a great article on Stewart's announcement. And yeah, Mike is asking in particular, when he says division, he's actually not talking about the class. He's talking about what division of the country. And I didn't see that in the article skimming. Maybe Bobby's got that direct answer. Granted, we can expect him to be in competition at the Baby Gators, and that's a Division II. So maybe he's going to be lining up there. And I think that's even where the McPhillips run out of. So that might be where he lines up, is where the McPhillips run out of regularly instead of running in the division that would be around Indianapolis. So good question, Mike. Let's see if we can get down to the bottom of that. The insider may very well have the answer. I was wondering that too. What races would he be running for to possibly gain a regional championship? Remember, folks, it's very well he could get a regional championship and not win a national championship. You have a lot of people in top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car, elsewhere that they're regional champions and they didn't win a national championship. So there's a lot of possibilities in that world.
Lee, you got to be honest. He's going to be wherever he wants to be. I mean, he's going to get in his plane and he's going to say, I want to race here, and that's where he's going to be. I mean,
well, you got to remember.
I mean, I'm just saying. I totally get. There's divisions, but if there's a race that I believe that he wants to get to, like we said, he has the resources and the funds to do that. And if he, we saw it there I saw it there in Denver. He was in a midget car or a sprint car one night, and then he flew all night, and the next morning he's in Denver at the starting line when Leah, goes to fire up for the first round. So, I mean.
Well, I know this. I'm sure that Tony is going to run not just for a championship, but championships, if at all possible. So, and look, what I love about, a lot of people don't talk about this, but what I like in the top alcohol ranks is, and not just top alcohol ranks, but the sportsman ranks, if you will, you can go run a race and point block and stop someone from gaining points, even though you didn't need to gain the points. So many things can come into play in that level, the way they do earn points. The Drag Racing Central, effectively, yes, he could be running for two championships. You got the regional and the national, which many of them are. And it's fascinating. You have that play out sometimes at national events. Someone that's like already won their region, and yet they're still shooting for a national. If I remember, Jackie Frick, actually a couple of years ago, that was a situation. She was already a regional champion, and she had a shot at the national championship as well. So I love that dynamic. It can get confusing, but I think that's neat how you can earn points that way, point block in the regional races and the national events, and how that all comes together for championships on different levels. I think that's fascinating. I think definitely Tony Stewart gets that and understands that. The dirt track world has very similar programs, so he's going to do just fine. He's in a great ride with the McPhillips, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does, because the McPhillips ride is a top ride. but it's not the only top rod out there. There's Randy Meyer Racing out there. There's the Samsels out there. If Harada is back with their car, that's a good hot rod. There's a lot of good dragsters out there in that class. Well, Sam, I think it's time we take a break and we get the insider on, Mr. Bobby Bennett himself, and we hear from him, and he give us the down low in the drag racing world of what's going on out there. To all of you watching, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the share button. This is all brought to you by Weldon High Performance. Bobby Bennett on the Competition Plus Power Hour. How that goes, sir?
Happy Valentine's Day, homies.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yes, to everybody.
Yeah. Do like me. Look at my picture. Being the husband and a father cost me 36 roses today.
There you go.
About 3 dozen roses, all kinds of candy, and everything.
Oh man. Oh,
You're letting Hallmark suck you in, Bobby. You're letting Hallmark suck you in.
Hallmark and Walmart and all those places are certainly winning today. Maybe not the men. Bobby, look, I know you got great information for us, but with some of the folks that were asking, even I'm wondering, did Tony declare what actual region division he's in?
No, he didn't, and there's probably good reason. He's probably going to follow the lead of the McPhillips group, whatever they choose. And I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't see a Division I or Eastern Regional focus. So, and maybe some North Central or what Midwest. But I really believe it's going to be an East Coast focus.
Okay.
But that was a good thing. And what silently slipped out today is that there's a new Hayabusa body, Suzuki, first one in 10 years. Vance and Hines, I was at one of my excursions down to Gainesville, got to watch Gage Herrera run the bike as well as Eddie Krawick. And, man, I'm telling you, you got to watch out for this Herrera kid. I'm telling you, Herrera as well as Joey Gladstone, they are going to start a trend. I predict today, right here on the Power Hour, episode 115, you're going to see a trend coming where there's going to be more of these, as some of the seasoned riders decide to step away, they're probably going to be succeeded by some of these racers in the outlaw, no wheelie bar bike divisions. Because, man, if you got that, you pretty much drive everything, right, except maybe a Nitro Harley, which that's a world of its own there. But I think that, and I got to tell you, I really fully truly believe Gage Herrera will be the guy to beat for the championship this year. I'm going ahead and firing my shot. Baber pointing wherever he pointed. That way.
That's bold.
Tell him. That's my shot right there.
Ooh, it's too early to be. Oh, I don't know.
You got to remember, when I feel confident of something, I go right there for it. It's just like
you
when
said
playing.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
I didn't say this year. I didn't say this year.
Okay.
But anyway, my 2-0 in the Super Bowl Bucks. Okay. Anyway, it's like when I played baseball. When I played baseball, and I was pretty confident in those days. Guy comes up to me. I said, "Yeah, y'all got a good team. You're gonna win some games." He said, "Thank you." I said, "Today ain't gonna be one of them." So that was that kind of confidence. Okay, let's move on to some other stuff in there. The canopy car with Coletta,
Yep.
which they bought the Aerodyne composites from John Force Racing and worked it into the race car. The jury's still out whether this car will be in Gainesville. I spoke at length with Doug Coletta and Chad Head, the team manager, and they're just, they're taking their time and evaluating it. But so far, so good. And Dougie appears to really, really, really like the canopy car. So that's two of the big things going on right now. That's the most noteworthy.
Okay. And I want to bring the photo back up. That's a good looking. It looks really close to like the stock thing. That looks good.
Yeah. And Herrera, I'm telling you, what I saw that kid pull off on that bike, he doesn't look like a rookie. Just like Joey Gladstone, he didn't look like a rookie either. I mean, Joey Gladstone's badass, and this Herrera kid's going to be badass too. So I'm just telling you, watch that. But we'll get to see you. We'll get to see you, Lee, this weekend at the North Carolina Motorsports or North Carolina Drag Racing Hall of Fame. Man, can't wait to hang out with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I have not been to that event yet, and it works out to be there. So, looking forward to that. And I look forward. Look, I put in the application for the credentials. Looking forward to March meet. So, looking forward to being out there as well. It's ramping up. Drag racing's ramping up. So.
Oh yeah. We're I'm on the cusp of 4 weekends in a row on the road. Starting with the Hall of Fame. Then we go down to Belrose for the Division 4 opener, the Comp Eliminator bonus fund, which will be announced, along with this $50,000 Comp Eliminator shootout at Indy. It's coming. Telling you it's coming. I've seen the paperwork. And then we'll go from there. We'll go to the Bakersfield March meet. Now, how about this for a race fan? On one side of the country, an ultimate event for door slammers, and on the other side of the country, old school nitro racing. Just doesn't get any better than that.
I agree.
And then
I agree.
Week after, we've got Gainesville with the NHRA Gator Nationals and a kickoff of what is going to be one of the best seasons ever. And if you, last week on the Power Hour, episode number 114, I think Robert Hite kind of gave a glimpse of what's coming.
For sure. And
you talking about angry. Robert Hite always has a smile, but you can always see he's ready.
Oh, he's ready. He's chomping at the bit. Right.
He's definitely ready to go out there and show he's the baddest stud in the club.
Right. Yeah, it is about to be a wild time in drag racing. Like you mentioned, you've got World Series of Pro Mod March meet same week, then Gators, then the Funny Car Chaos Classic at the Texas Motorplex. Then it's out to Phoenix. Then it's like out back to the Funny Car Chaos Cajun National. Southeast Gassers Association's firing up around in there that time, around in Reynolds, Georgia. I mean, it's popping everywhere. It's like a bag of popcorn in drag racing, though. It's everywhere, and it tastes good too because it's buttered and fluffy and airy with a little hint of nitro.
He said buttered and fluffy. Buttered and fluffy.
Have you eaten at a Waffle House lately or something?
I have not, thank you.
That's what it is.
Salad chick today. Dude,
he's missing
they worked me over for Valentine's today.
They did, didn't they? They really did. Well, Bobby, you got anything else for us?
No, man. I'm pretty well. I fired all my bullets here. Time to take the ball.
Look, man, we're going to let you go to sleep. We can tell you're tired. You've been putting in a lot of good work for drag racing. Go get the rest, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. All right. We're going to let Bobby go. We're going to take a quick break.
Yeah.
You know what, Sam? I think we're going to let him be the peak performer of the week. Bobby puts out a lot of great drag racing content and keeps working away so people are informed of what's happening out there in the world of drag racing.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
All right. Sam, Mike has mentioned also Lights Out is coming up. I mean,
Yep.
it's just
Yes, it is.
It's not off season no more. It's go time. It is go time.
Nah,
for
off
sure.
off season ends honestly like mid-January. Like I said, PRI is a kind of like start, reset. Okay, here we go. Get a couple of weeks there, and then January kicks off. Everybody's getting back. You got to report back if you were living somewhere else and not in the Indy area. You're starting to report back to where you need to, putting the cars back together, go through everything. And then February is testing, and that first week in March, if you ain't ready, you ain't ready. I'm just being honest with you. If you haven't tested or anything by now, then you're behind the eight ball. So I think that's what that comes down to. Lot of racing, lot of door slammer racing, and people, and that's what I think was cool about certain events is, being invited or not being invited, or, where do you want to run? It kind of just, feels like, okay, where do I want to go? What do I want to do? And what makes more sense for my year? And some guys are kicking it off down in Florida. Some guys are kicking it off in Georgia, and other people are going to be on the West Coast. So, just a lot, and you've already had a couple of division races down in Florida where racing doesn't stop at all. So, just a lot. And like you said, the upcoming season starting out in Gainesville, then you'll have a week off, and then you're down in Phoenix. That's the haul there is pretty far, but going back to Phoenix, we had some great runs there last year. Expecting to see better things. The weather is always good. You can always count on that. And then it's the last race down in Phoenix. That holds, do you want to be the person that holds the last trophy up, from that event? So just a lot going into this year.
Possibly an interesting development on that. Possibly.
You're gonna go there. You're gonna go there.
If rumor is true,
you're gonna go there already.
Maybe not.
You see the way I said that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can possibly be the winner of the last trophy there.
That's right. That's right. So very quickly, Kroger Sucks 45, again, the greatest name in YouTube. Yes, from what Bobby stated, they are still using their chassis. They just worked in the Aerodyne pieces of the canopy. And then Andrew, basically what it boils down to is it is the team's choice. And they see it as a safer option, yet it's not deemed to be the safest. So it's a choice for the teams. Even though I do desire that NHRA would actually look into a true halo-type strengthening system, even for the open canopy cars, where if anything of any weight actually hit that windshield, it wouldn't bow over. I would like them to look into that. I hope we never have something of any weight, if you will, strike the very center of that windshield. So I would like to see them explore that. Even if it was open, some type of situation.
Lee, I'm surprised they haven't deemed it you either going full canopy or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised the full canopy has not been deemed like this is the standard.
I think that's something they want to leave to the teams, and I think they also probably see it as a cost measure, that if they mandated it, there would be teams that it would be very challenging for them to transition to a canopy, and it would put a hurting on fields.
I mean, yes and no, right? I mean, I can't imagine, and I mean, I guess we can talk about this later, but I can't imagine that they cost that much more to put the canopy on. And then again, that's something that I guess I would have to, do my research in and get some information from, teams that do, but I can't imagine it costs too much more to put the canopy on there, for one. For two, just for the safety, standpoint of it, like we've talked about before, something coming in, a Julie Natas situation where the whole body shreds and she's driving down the finish line in Indy with pieces of body, in her lap. I mean, just a multiple of reasons. I mean, we look at stick and ball sports. I mean, I hate to use this, but who was it? Who was the pitcher that threw the ball and hit the bird? You know what I mean?
Oh,
a
Randy
freak
Johnson.
accident can happen. Yeah. I mean, so it's just one of those things that you never know. So I'm just surprised at this point we have not gotten to some sort of that or a higher, windshield. And then not only that, if you look at some of the fastest teams that are out there, and I mean, they're running the full canopy.
Maybe there's something to it. So you mentioned Julie. I've got Julie on my show Thursday night. I want to have her on Between the Slicks Thursday night. Tonight, though, we already got him in the green room. J.R. Todd here in just a few moments. And then after our first guest being J.R. Todd, we'll have Chad Reynolds on. Looking forward to chatting with Chad. Looking forward to chatting with J.R. here in just a moment after the break. I thought you were going to say something, Sam.
Oh, I was going to say something, but JR is probably already sick of hearing it that him and I look alike. So.
Well, hey, at least we don't have Bobby on here, and Bobby can't say Antron, right? Yeah.
That is true. That
Right.
is true.
Yeah, that is true. So, Mr. Todd, right after the break.
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S.
Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away.
Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
All right, JR, man, welcome to the show tonight. Thanks for taking the time and coming on with us. Look, dude, it seems like you've been kind of quiet during the off season. What have you been up to?
Just hanging out, man. Actually been pretty busy, just doing some different sponsor obligations, what have you. Ready to get back to the season, that's for sure.
So most people, like Lee said, are in the media doing this, doing that, saying that. And for you, like you said, doing the sponsor stuff and what you have with Toyota. I mean, does that just mean you're kind of locked in and focused already of what's ahead and what you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, just the way that our season went last year, I'm just looking forward to getting on track and hopefully kind of getting back to our old ways of going to later rounds, winning races, and contending for another championship. Just, I don't know. I definitely haven't been quiet for no reason, just kind of ready to let our Toyota GR Super do the talking.
Toyota. Dude, it looks like it has to be a ton of fun working with that group in motorsports because they really go all out. I mean, they honestly do a better job than Ford. They do a better job than Chevy. They lead the way. What is it like working with that group? How much fun is it at a shoot with all these different motorsports individuals brought together to showcase the brand?
It's great. Like you said, Toyota does a lot for not only drag racing, but motorsports in general. Just they go above and beyond. I mean, they expect results and do a lot for us to be able to produce results, but they also do a lot to get us in the mainstream media, which I wish a lot of other companies would do for drag racing. And it's funny, I see a lot of the keyboard warriors out there that every time, a Toyota post goes out, or I post something about our funny car, it's like, well, is that thing really a Toyota? I mean, not to knock the other manufacturers out there, but we're all running the same parts and pieces. No one's running a Ford or a Chevy or what have you, but at the same time, Toyota probably does more behind the scenes than any of the other OEMs for the Nitro Funny Car.
I mean, 100%. I mean, you go to the track and Toyota has its own, team that's dedicated to, track prep and track maintenance and weather and what's going on, and they're relaying information back to you guys. And you see it more. You see the camaraderie with the Toyota group that's out there with drag racing. You guys, are all talking, or you guys are all doing something, where the other groups, this is my team. Yes, I'm a part of that, that OEM company, but when we're at the racetrack, we're different entities.
Yeah, and over the last couple seasons, Toyota's brought on more drivers, which is awesome. We signed together a handful times throughout the season, so it's cool. It just makes the bond and the information shared even greater between the teams. And at the end of the day, it's all about winning races for Toyota and Coletta Motorsports.
Winning races for Coletta Motorsports. I know last year was not the year you all were wanting in many respects. I think, 1-2 final round appearances, no wins. Certainly that's not what JR Todd wants. It's not what we think of out of Coletta Motorsports. You have things like Ron Capps. He gets a Toyota, goes out there, gets the first win for the Super, wins the championship in the Super, and this. How did you get through the season and not just be beside yourself and be like, come on, guys, we got to get out there. We got to win. We got to move on. And I'm sure you're chomping at the bit right now to get to the Gator Nationals, a race you've won, and do it again. Yeah,
I mean, through the highs and lows, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm lucky that I get to drive a Nitro Funny Car for a living for a great team, a great owner like Connie Coletta and Coletta Motorsports. But yeah, it's frustrating when you know that you have a team that's capable of winning races and winning championships, because we've done that in the past. But you got to ride that wave when you can, and take the lows as they come, because seasons like last year, we didn't live up to our expectations. And, when those wins come, it just makes those low points, it makes it worth it. I mean, you got to put in the work. And I don't want to say that we didn't put in the work last year. We just didn't have things kind of fall our way. And I feel like we put in a lot of work this off season. We tested last week in Gainesville. We're going to test again the week of the race. And, we had some strong results, I think, the full pulls that we made last week. So it's got me excited for 2023.
And I think we got a great question coming in here for you. I think this is kind of a good time to talk about it. Is talking about the Topeka DQ. Your personal thoughts and opinions on that.
That was 2022, man. I'm not looking back on that. That was an unfortunate thing that happened. It just we weren't going out there cheating by any means. I can guarantee you that. Just something that got overlooked, and definitely shouldn't have happened. And I'm not saying that it prevented us from winning the race, but I definitely feel like we had a good car that day. But that's long gone. And like I said, we're focused on 2023, and we've made a lot of changes since then.
So Kroger Sucks 45. He asks, what's the car wrap going to look like this year? And I want to take that question and also add to it and ask you, like, when are you going to get your throwback Connie Coletta funny car? We got to see that.
Yeah, I wish that we could run throwbacks like the NASCAR guys do. Usually there at the Southern 500 in Darlington. But as far as the design, I gotta feel that it's going to be pretty similar to last year. I mean, there's always some changes year to year with our DHL schemes, but to the common eye, it's kind of hard to pick out the differences. But yeah, last week when we ran there in Gainesville, it was just bare carbon fiber, and I wish that we could run it just like that. I think it looks mean. I've always been a big fan of just bare carbon fiber bodies going back to when I raced junior dragsters, but you got to put the people that make it happen, DHL and Toyota and CMR and Mobile One, all those great people that are behind us. We got to showcase them, and I'm sure we'll have a great looking hot rod come Gainesville.
So for you, JR, I mean, you said you're focused on 2023 and you're focused on what this year's gonna, bring and what obstacles may, be ahead of you. But what does JR do to change if there's anything that needed to change for you personally from last year to this year in your driving style and what you need to do? What have you already figured out what that was, or what are you working on to improve that?
I mean, I honestly probably wouldn't change a whole lot from what I've done in the past inside the car. There's only so much it's in the driver's hand. Just go out there and hit the tree as hard as you can. Try and keep that thing stuck in the groove for 3.8, 3.9 seconds or whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm not going to change the way I go about driving the thing. It's just maybe change your overall outlook and your mentality. Just try to have a positive outlook on things, and just like I said, be happy that you get to drive a nitro funny car for a living. There's definitely worse ways to be making a living in this world, and I'm one of the lucky few that gets to do what I love.
Well, not just lucky. I mean, you're talented. You're a very talented driver. You're one of the, I would say, intelligent drivers out there. You showcased that at Indy when you bumped it in and no clutch basically and got that thing staged. So you know how to handle yourself out there in the nitro ranks for sure. JR, looking at this season upcoming with Coletta Motorsports, DHL, Toyota, everyone involved, expectations. You mentioned that earlier, and that y'all did not live up to your expectations in 2022. Looking ahead in 2023, what do those expectations look like? What are those tangibles? What numbers might it be?
I'm not going to predict any numbers, so to speak. I mean, I know what we did last week, and I'm not saying that's what what we're going to go out there and do week in and week out, but I would have to say our expectations are to win as many races as possible. First off, you got to win a race. I mean, that's something I want to do from the get-go. We got some new guys on our team that weren't there in the past when we won in Gainesville a couple years ago. So it'd be nice to get them their first win, and hopefully we get that monkey off our back and start clicking off some late rounds and race wins. And like I said, just be in championship contention after the U.S. Nationals. But that's a long ways from now, and I just want to go out there and have fun, and like I said, win races, and the ultimate goal is to win a championship. I mean, anything short of that, you just kind of didn't exceed your goal.
Going out there, winning a championship, round by round, like walk us through what a day, is like when you're, like you said, you want to be in those later rounds. You want to be, in contingents after the U.S. Nationals. That's going rounds later in the day, like we talked about. So on a day, where it's 100 degrees, maybe, what is JR doing that's different from any other driver to, stay ready and stay motivated in those later rounds?
Each driver is different, myself and, I know Sean Langdon, my teammate. I mean, we have duties that we have outside the race car. On race day, for going rounds, I'm mixing nitromethane, packing the parachutes, meeting with different sponsors and guests and things like that. So you're always keeping your mind busy and not just sitting around thinking about the mission at hand, where I don't like having a lot of downtime to think about things. I think that's why, a lot of drivers, even myself sometimes, you get butterflies and get antsy and get kind of nervous there for first round just because you've had so much time to sit and think about it to where on race day, if you're fortunate enough to get by first round, your adrenaline's up and then you're just focused on, getting your task done and just staying in that zone and not letting the outside world distract you more than anything.
So last week we had Josh Hart on. He, threw down and said, "Hey, I don't like participation trophies," and wasn't a fan of the points that could be earned on top of the normal qualifying points with like the race within a race on Saturday. He was fine with the money part of it, but not the points part of it. Where do you stand? What are your thoughts on the new program that the NHRA is going to have within qualifying this year?
I'm all for, adding money to our classes. And, if there's a chance to earn some bonus points, I mean, who's not going to take them? But at the same time, I just kind of feel like the format might be a little confusing for our fans on, when we're racing and not racing and what have you. But I'd also like to think that the overall point structure needs tweaked. I mean, there's really no drama to make the countdown to the championship when if you're a full-time touring car that everybody makes the countdown to where it used to be such a big deal to make the top 10 and lock into the top 10 to where, I mean, if there's 15 touring cars and everybody makes the countdown, right?
Right. Yeah, I'd agree. It takes a lot of the drama out of it. It really cheapens making it into that club, if you will, for that year. You didn't earn it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it used to be, a few years ago, like you had to race your ass off all the way up to Indy to make the top 10 cutoff to where now it's not that way. I mean, I don't know. I feel like somehow there's got to be some kind of tweak there to make, if they want to create the drama, they're gonna have to make some tweaks to the point system. And I mean, also, we don't really need the points and a half at Indy if everybody's making the countdown.
Yeah, that was my next question there. So you answered that one. But right now for you, JR, if someone offered you a ride in a different class, if JR was like, you know what, I want to potentially maybe do 2 classes or could drive another class. Is there another class that's got your eye or that, I mean, and not saying that you are, but just, is there another class that you would, think you could excel at also?
I mean, I've driven a pro mod in the past and competed in some outlaw pro mod stuff, but we can't race 2 pro classes at the same time. And alcohol funny car, I think, is the next coolest thing to a nitro funny car. And I've never driven one of them, and always joked around with Johnny Lindbergh about trying to get my license in his car, at least making a run or two like our buddy Richie Crampton did. So it would probably be alcohol funny car, but at the same time, I mean, my current license says funny car, top fuel, super comp, nostalgia funny car. I mean, I'd love to get like a solid nostalgia funny car ride to be able to go out there and compete for the March meet win or the hot rubber union win, kind of like what Caps does.
I like that. Hey, come on down to a Funny Car Chaos sometime. We'd love to have you at one, man. Come on down.
That's kind of my problem though, with as much stuff as we're busy doing with sponsor things throughout the week and even race weekends. Now that I moved to Florida, like I enjoy my weekends off, man. It's nice to relax every now and then and get away from the track when you've been on the road for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. But I do keep up on Funny Car Chaos when I can.
You got him hooked, Lee. So you're in Florida. I mean, one of the it's been known to say that this is the biggest, the baddest, and the richest drag race is going to happen here in a couple of weeks down in Florida. You're a former pro mod guy yourself, door slammer racing down in Bradenton with West Buck. Are you gonna take in a little pro mod action, little grudge race?
I don't know. We'll have to see when that time comes. But yeah, keep up a little bit on social media, like all the smack talking and, how it's going to be the world's biggest drag race. And yeah, it's cool if those guys get to race for a big payday. I wish that we had a lot more races with bigger paydays and what have you. I mean, it's nice that we have the Pet Boys call out for some added bonus money, but I think our sport is at a level now to where the costs have gone up for everything that we do, where the payout needs to kind of meet up there with those costs.
Yeah, completely agree. You all should be racing for way bigger bucks. And if not within the NHRA, it would be great to see a standalone nitro event somehow, somewhere, and it be big bucks for you guys coming out. And I don't know, I think a great setting would be Top Fuel versus Funny Car again, whether it's an NHRA type event or an outlaw event and big money on the line and everybody's together and 32 car field. That'd be stellar.
Yeah, I'd be all for stuff like that. I mean, Funny Car versus Dragster, or just, nitro cars only. I think if you promote it right, I mean, guys like Chris Blair there at Gateway, they do a great job promoting races, and I've heard him, talk about in the past that if everybody would just get together and do it, like he'd love to make something like that happen. I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but Bader, I think that he does a great job with the race that he does there later in the summer. Just, I'd love to see something outside of maybe an off weekend where it's nitro cars only for a lot of money, and maybe some online streaming service, something like that. But it'd be a lot of fun for sure. No pressure, no points, just whatever you do to take home the money.
I mean, we've obviously stated it here on this show that we think drag racing needs an all-star week. I mean, if we're holding drag racing to the standard and we want to be comparable to other sports, I don't see why we don't have an all-star event for drag racers. I think you take at that time, maybe the top 5 in each class, and you say, okay, I don't want to say put you guys on a bike, because I think that's risky for way too many people. Some of these drivers can't even walk in a straight line, but it'd be fun to see you guys in a pro stock car, a dragster, funny car, and I don't know, and maybe a rental car or like your crew vehicle, and you accrue points and you do like a 3-day thing, and you accrue points and stuff like that. I mean, do you think that maybe could be something that could be worked out, or do you just say just a nitro only event?
I don't think you're going to get teams to offer up their pro stock cars and vice versa, the swap drivers out that aren't used to that element. But I don't know, there's different ways you could go about it. I mean, I was pretty young back in the Winston days when they had the Winston Invitational there in Rockingham, but something like that where you just earn points for like a specialty race weekend for a lot of money. There's no points. It's just all about putting on a show for the fans, and maybe having some sort of, drivers only softball game like we used to do in the past. Just there's a lot of different things that you could do to make it a specialty event, I believe. A go-kart race, anything like that.
So JR, I'm curious on the journey, what it was like with the new Supra body. You get a body, and beautiful body. Toyota did a great job. But what was the massaging like on that new body? What were things as a driver you needed to have tweaked on? What were things the team did to tweak on to get more performance? What was it like to the point where we're like, okay, we've got this where this is a workable performing piece now? Or was it like that out of the box?
As far on my end, I mean, I'd say it came out of the box awesome for me compared to the TRD Camry that I had previously. I mean, before that, I'd never really driven a funny car, so I didn't know right from wrong. I just knew what I could see and couldn't see. And Toyota asked what I would like going forward, and I just told them, visibility to be able to see a lot more. And they definitely knocked it out of the park with the GR Super. But once you get the body, I feel like a lot of people think you just bolt the thing on and go, and that's definitely not the case. Before the season got started last year, we tested down here in West Palm Beach. I believe it was in December, just kind of making sure that seeing what was right and wrong before we went to an actual test session before the season got kicked off. So we learned kind of like what not to do there in West Palm and made some adjustments to the body. Then went to Phoenix and tested before Pomona, and just I'd say it probably took half the season before we got everything ironed out to where we have it to where it is today. There's a lot of things that the wind tunnel and the CFD and all that don't really tell you compared to the on-track performance. And whether the nose is on the ground or it's however many inches in the air affects the drivability. So those are things that you learn on the track, and that's the benefit of working with people like Toyota. They send out their engineers and their guys to work with everybody at Coletta Motorsports. And now that we have Caps and Alexis, I mean, there's 3 teams that we get to share information with throughout the funny car ranks to try and make this body better than anything else out there.
So with all the Toyota information that's shared, how much information are each team using, or do you guys have your own Pacific guy or girl that's giving you that information, or are all you guys collectively getting the same information?
There's definitely some information I'd say shared throughout the pit on what's going on with the body, but at the end of the day, I mean, each team is not going to give up their specific secret on what they're doing. But also when it comes to Toyota relaying information, I mean, we have, track specialists giving track updates around the clock to all the crew chiefs that are involved with Toyota and weather updates and things like that. So that's the beauty of it, to where, it seems like it wasn't that long ago, the crew chiefs, they all had their pagers. They had to go check the track, which kind of takes away from them being back in the pit area, looking over the runs or looking over the parts, or just kind of forming up a plan for the next run, to where that Toyota kind of relieves them of that duty, which is nice.
JR, man, I'm one for hoping that we see a big turnaround 2023 for yourself and for Coletta Motorsports. It's going to be good to see that. I know like collectively it seemed like NHRA fandom is just like, man, where is Coletta Motorsports? What is going on? And it's good to hear that testing went well, and we can look forward to you all having a stellar year, because I think someone like you performing well, and you can be outspoken, you can even be a little bit chipper. That's good for the sport. That's good for the class. And we need you up there performing well and stirring some things up. So go do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, more than anything, I just want to go out there and have fun and kind of let our race cars do the talking. I mean, you hear a lot of chatter, like, what's going on? Why aren't you guys doing well? And I think we're living proof that drag racing, especially in the nitro categories, is not easy, and it's not a given.
We often hear in the media and that drag racers are not outspoken. And JR, you say how you feel and whatnot. What do you think it take? What would it take, I guess, to get more of the drag racing that we see traditionally at small town tracks? You see your backdoor grudge racers guys, have a little chitter chatter. You got guys like Stevie, Bash Jackson, and Lyle Barnett that are very outspoken and say what they say. Why is it in the professional category of NHRA we don't see it as much?
I mean, a lot of us definitely can't say everything that we think, and I probably sometimes say more than I should, but at the end of the day, you have sponsors that you have to answer to, and some of these street car guys or pro mod guys or whatever, they may own their own team and don't have anybody that they have to answer to where, I'm a hired gun and I need to watch what I say. But at the same time, NHRA is all about driver personalities and getting to know the driver, but you don't really get to know the driver through our TV show. So it'd be nice if we could get something going to like kind of the F1 series to where it's kind of a behind the scenes kind of, I don't want somebody following me around in my daily life down here in Florida, but at least away from the track or even at the track, out of the race car, just showing that we're normal people, like the fans that come to watch us and things like that. And not everything is like rainbows and unicorns. Like some days you do have a bad day and that you're not always happy.
Well, may there be more rainbows and unicorns in 2023, and maybe the real appearance of the clown car. Well, I'd like that. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions about the clown car. That was a big hit. And like once again, thankful for Toyota for involving us in that production. That was a lot of fun doing that, and hopefully there's more things like that coming down the road. But yeah, that's what our sport needs. I mean, that shows like a little bit of my personality, I guess, on that camera. I mean, I don't hate clowns, but I think that's how I probably would act towards clowns if I were a real deal.
No, for sure. Toyota is doing a great job and getting someone like yourself in that situation and just playing along and showcasing. I mean, I remember when they do the things like Kyle Busch had literally the car with like rainbows and unicorns on it, and that was a big hit. And the clown car was a big hit. So those things are big. They're big for a sport. They help take the sport to a broader audience because someone can talk about a clown car probably easier than a funny car and yet maybe tiptoe into the sport.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that there's some fans outside of drag racing that saw it that kind of maybe get them in the drag racing now. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Even a lot of drag racing fans don't know, like, why is it called a funny car? So yeah, that once again, that's where I think a reality show, just going behind the scenes, can help express ourselves better to the common fans out there.
I've got to push for the funny car, literally the funny car, being at Vegas for Halloween. I mean, I think it would be hilarious on Sunday to see the race team show up, crew chief and all, with the clown wig and the big nose, and I'm just saying that'd be a good look for Vegas.
I said last year that I'd be all for running the clown car as long as DHL and Toyota and everybody else would sign off on it. But more than that, I think that Indy would be awesome for some kind of throwback race or Gainesville, one of those to where, you had to run some kind of throwback scheme if you wanted to. I mean, and teams have done it, like Jim Head, he ran his throwback scheme there a few years ago when Lindbergh was driving. So it'd be awesome to see, the Blue Max and just things like that in the funny car class.
Completely.
We're going to make a push for it, Lee.
It's
for Indy. Throwbacks and
happen.
Indies.
And look, I mean, JR, just you got to go to the boss man and be like, look, my teammate got to run the bounty hunter throwback. Like, give me something.
Right. Well, that's the benefit of Sean's car being Connie's car. They can do whatever they want with that thing.
Well, look, JR, thank you for your time. Looking forward to you having a great 2023 season. We'll see you at the Gators.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, Sam.
Throwback cars in Indy. That's the throwback in Indy. It's a new hashtag.
Look,
so
I do.
Everyone,
I would prefer. I'd like to see it at Epping because it's like that throwback facility. But Indy's cool. Indy's cool too.
But throwback in Epping would be pretty sick. But could you imagine rolling into Indy and just having just pure chaos, right? I mean, Indy is pure chaos as it is, but then every car is throwback. Like, if you don't enter into Indy and you don't have a throwback car, like, you get, I'm just going to say, they knock you off like 100 points. Like, Make it man, like, you know what I mean?
But the points don't matter because it gets reset anyway.
True. That is.
Hey, if you bring a throwback, it's 5,000 off your
It's
entry fee or something. How about that?
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think I really don't think they're gonna do that. But let's just say, okay, like for the points, since the points don't matter, let's just say if you do come into Indy with a throwback scheme, you get like a early 30 points. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know that's nothing, but you get something. Like it's good for it's good, like you said, it's good for the sport. I mean, somebody's probably sitting at home right now and they're like, dude, I am not like, I don't like new drag racing. But then if they know, hey, so and so is gonna run, an old Winston car, somebody's gonna have a Budweiser car, or the Copenhagen car, like
And
somebody's like,
look,
dude, I'm pulling out my old T-shirts that have been smelling like mothballs for 10 years, and I'm going to damn Indy so I can wear this old Winston shirt.
yeah, look, there's so much that could be done to work all of that out. Like, J.R. Todd mentioned the Blue Max. Well, the Blue Max is still out there. A guy who actually drove it, Ronnie Young, he still drives a Blue Max, and the Blue Max actually has a trailer. Strangely enough, and like you could have someone run the Blue Max scheme and the Blue Max actually be there. You got Steve Tomozik with the Detroit Tiger. Someone run the Detroit Tiger scheme and have the Detroit Tiger there as well, and it could be done very, very well. They just need to pick, like the 75th or something, and say that's going to be throwback weekend, or just do it. And look, I'm all in favor this year.
I like the weight.
Throwback.
I like the weight penalty.
Hashtag throwback at Epic.
Okay.
I'm just saying. That's my thoughts.
Fine.
That's my thought. Hey, how about we get Chad on and we'll ask him?
No, we can't get Chad on yet because I don't have a beard anymore. So it's gonna be two bearded guys on here.
Yeah, it's gonna look like
I'm not ready.
Like you're gonna be like beginning stage. I'm like middle stage, and he's like the end stage. That's what it's gonna be like.
It's all right. Chad's probably gonna give me crap anyway.
You deservedly.
No.
Folks at Holly make the show possible. We're glad they are partnered up with us. You'll see the light with Retro Bright.
Classic car owners, make your headlights over twice as bright with Holley Retro Bright LED headlights. A plug-in replacement for those dim halogen seal beams, Retro Bright maintains that classic look and lasts 6 times longer. Stay safe and click the link below to learn more.
Chad Reynolds, man, welcome to the Competition Plus Power Hour, and congratulations on the big nod to do some announcing at the World Series of Pro Mod.
Yeah, well, it's fun. I'm glad to be back going and working with the Midwest Drag Racing Series. Those guys are awesome. They are just a super fun group, and I announced with them before, and obviously did all the live streams over there for Keith Haney and the entire crew for a very long time as well. But it's been fun being a part of that organization for a long time. Again, just great racing over there. And to be coming back is cool. And the first race of the season is, right down the street here at home in Texas. So that makes it good.
I like it, Lee. Look, he comes on after he says his whole spiel. He grabs his cup. He's no veteran of the podcast world. Chad, man, it's been, again, congratulations. But it's been a while since I've seen you, man. I mean, last time you and I were like, I mean, I think about the epic year we had. We had the burn down at the 4 wides in North Carolina. Then we had the crazy, you were at Indy.
Yep.
We had the crazy, double up for me. We had Lyle right after Antron, and they looked at each other right in front of you and I and said, hey, we're going to do this. So, man, like, what's been going on? Like, I mean, so much to catch up on. Let's go here. Door Slammer Racing.
Yeah.
In your eyes, in the last 3 years, good, bad, and where the hell did this come from?
I think door slammer racing has never been better. And when I say better, I mean bigger. And so it really doesn't matter whether you're a no prep guy, whether you're a pro stock guy, whether you're a pro mod guy, even radial racing. It doesn't matter what you're into. If you're into, door car drag racing, there's never been a better time to either be racing or to be a fan. And the reason is because there's just so much of it going on. Whether you like it or not, No Prep Kings is packing the house every single weekend, everywhere they go. NHRA has got, great crowds going at events all over the country, and there's tons of door slammer drag racing. In fact, we always talk about Top Fuel and Funny Car, but the truth of the matter is they make up this little tiny itty bitty bit of a national event. And most of the rest of the cars that are at an NHRA national event, other than super comp dragsters, are door cars. So there's a ton of door car drag racing going on. And of course, small tire, no prep or prep, the radial world. Obviously, we're getting ready to go back to South Georgia for one of Duck's races. It's just never been a better time. And so it doesn't matter whether you're a radial guy or a no prep guy or a big tire guy or a no preps Kings guy or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's tons of racing out there for you to watch. And if you're like me and you like all of it, then you're really in seventh heaven. So I think that there are a couple of things that are going on in the door car drag racing world that I think are unfortunate. And there's a couple of things that are happening that should be no surprise. I think radial racing, Lyle and I have been really vocal about this. We love it. It's near and dear to our hearts. But I think that it's going to be, I think it's going to be in a tough couple of years right now. I don't think COVID did it any favors, obviously. And of course, the no prep world is such a vast difference from the radial world. And the racing is so fast paced that I think it's hard for no prep fans to watch radial racing. And so I think that's a downside to the radial world. And unfortunately, NHRA Pro Stock continues to struggle. And that's just too bad because, quite frankly, I'm going to say it right here. NHRA Pro Stock has been the best door car drag racing in the world, period, for longer than anything else. So, my opinion.
Chad, can you please repeat that, please? I don't think Lee heard you. Please repeat that, Chad. Chad,
Yes.
You don't understand. Okay, I'm going to set the stage before you repeat.
Yeah.
Door car guy, right?
I know.
Not a door car guy.
I know, and that's okay. I mean, I've driven dragsters a bunch. I've driven everything, but
Oh, no. You're not branding me not a door car guy. Okay.
I'm hard. I did
Whatever.
It is fine. It is finally time that we set the precedent here on this show, is because week in, week out, I hear nitro drag, top fuel is the best class. And I am alone on the island here. We get Darren on here, and Darren's talking about funny car, and it's just poor old Sam here by himself. So, Chad, you stated something
need a
that was
backup,
the best
dude.
thing.
You just let me know, Sam.
Yes.
I'm in there. I will be your backup, dude. Don't worry.
So, can you please repeat what you said about Pro Stock again so everyone can hear you?
Absolutely. I have said it time and time again, and I will say it again. NHRA Pro Stock, historically speaking, has been the best door car drag racing in the history of ever. And it still could be. And I know that Bobby will hate me for saying this, but if NHRA didn't screw it up, it'd be great. So if they let somebody in there to un-F up Pro Stock, we'd have big fields of Pro Stock cars, way bigger than we've ever had before. I'm just saying it.
See, and then we get these comments.
Top
We're
Fuel
not
actually
saying
had
that.
an interesting champion battle. Didn't Erica dominate Pro Stock? Yes, she did. She absolutely did. But you know what? That's not been unusual. John Force dominated Funny Car for decades, and everybody thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not a fan, okay? You can't drive for Ford that long and then make a Chevrolet guy like me fall in love with you just because you put a Camaro body on your Mustang Funny Car. So I'm sorry, I'm not your guy, but there were jillions of people that loved that guy forever when he was dominating. So what's the difference? Is it because it's a chick this time? I think that's it. I got to tell you, I know a lot of guys who are misogynistic that'll just bitch because a woman did it. And my hat is off to her. She did a good job.
No, it's not even that. Then you get the people that are complaining, well, I mean, yes, she did dominate. I mean, a straight, and I don't want to say it, but a donkey stomping, you know?
Yes.
I mean, winning that many races, it is what it is. But Steve Torrence did it. No one complained when Steve Torrence did it.
100%. 100%. And the thing is
the Brady rule only applies to the people that aren't Brady fans.
That is exactly it, Sam. 100%. Because somehow they look at and go, okay, look at, here's Erica, and she absolutely donkey stomps everybody, as Sam said it. And yet nobody complained about Torrance doing it is the perfect example. And, dude, that team, of Erica's is crazy, crazy well-funded, right? Elite is no stranger to being winners, and they have big money, big talent, big staff, all the things you need to be successful, and they are serious about it. So, would I love to see, Larry Morgan come out and win a national event in pro stock at his age? Absolutely. That dude is having a great time. He is smiling. We're laughing on the starting line. We're having fun every time. But, he's not out there. Is he out to win? Absolutely, right? You never let go of the clutch pedal if you're not trying to win it. But, he's still not at that level, right? And that is a lot of the field in pro stock lately. But, again, it's been that way in Funny Car and Top Fuel different years as well. I mean, Don Schumacher Racing didn't become who they were because they, came out and had a McDonald's budget. Dude, they were spending cubic tons of money. And if you think it takes that there's any way to do it in this sport without that kind of money behind you, it's just not possible. It's not possible to do it consistently at the level that Elite is doing it in this case, for pro stock. So,
Sorry, Lee, I had to throw you under the bus and back on you just a couple times. I mean, hey.
No bus ran over me. It's just out of context. Convenient for yourself.
Hey, dude, I still love you no matter what you like. You know what I tell everybody? I'm a diehard Chevrolet guy, right? To the core. I mean, I have Chevrolet cars and or Chevrolet words and symbols tattooed all over my body. I am as diehard as they get. But if you're as into your Mustang as I'm into my Camaro, then you're okay with me, right? I mean, as long as it's LS turbo powered or whatever, like all the good ones.
No, see, we still have that problem because, I mean, like last time you and I talked when we were doing a show and Lyle was on and he starts mentioning, I'm trying to finagle my way into driving beer money.
Got you.
But Lyle won't let me do it because he knows how diehard of a Ford guy I am. And I give him crap all the time about, that LS power in there. And so I tell him, I'm like, Lyle, help me with my car that someone here showed the world a couple of weeks ago. Don't do it, Lee. Don't
Go ahead,
do
Lee.
it.
Come on, share it again. Do it, Lee. You can do it.
If I had it queued up, I would. I'd do it again. I don't have it.
But yeah. But I mean, we all have our flavors. We all have our.
Find it.
It's awesome.
See, I mean, we all have our flavors. We all have our notes. But when it comes down to it, I mean, yes, did Top Fuel have a battle that went down to the wire? Yeah, they did. But with what and especially for you, Chad, you're involved in with Lyle. You and him are really good friends, and what you've seen with the pro mod class. The pro mod class is very gritty. It's a backdoor trash talking group of guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's a couple of guys that don't like it. How does pro mod not get looked as the redheaded stepchild? No offense, Lee. But how do we get pro mod to be looked at just like all the other pro classes?
I'll tell you. So I've been really vocal about pro mod for the last several years, but especially the last year and a half or 2 years while Lyle's been driving. And I've talked to all of the team owners and crew and what have you. And there's a couple of things going on here. So first off, NHRA, acts as if pro mod is a professional category, but it is not. It doesn't run with the pros. It runs after Pro Stock Bike sometimes, which Pro Stock Bike is also sort of the redheaded stepchild. But Pro Mod is, generically speaking, treated like a sportsman class unless NHRA needs something from them, and then they refer to them as a pro category. But the truth is, they've never been included in any of the the pro awards. They are not part of the Camping World Series or for the pro categories. So they just aren't, right? And that is what it is, right? Pro Mod isn't bringing anything to the table for NHRA as far as NHRA is concerned. So they're not going to change that. That is what it is. I think there are ways to fix that, but that's another subject. But the problem that you have is that in Pro Mod, there are basically two kinds of owners and drivers. So there are the owners that are guys that have big money. They put their own companies on the side of their car and they go out there and they race and they have a great time doing it, right? And they're as serious as anybody else. They want to win, absolutely. But they're doing this, again, with their own money, with their own companies on the side of the car, and they're doing it for themselves. And then you get guys like Lyle who are out there who want to win, and championships are all that matter to him. He wants to have a good time, because why would you do this otherwise? But he's not the guy that can just put his own company name on the side of the car, right? So he's fighting and clawing and scrapping for sponsorship. Or you get a guy like Stevie Fast Jackson, who has been doing this a very long time, but also has to have sponsorship dollars in order to do this, right? He's not independently wealthy, doesn't have a giant company that can pay for this kind of stuff. So the problem with that is, and having those two different sides, is that, let's say somebody like me came in and said, okay, I want to represent the Pro Mod teams with NHRA, and I'm going to be the go-between, and I'm going to create this relationship that is unbelievably beneficial for both parties. Well, the thing about it is, the goals of the guy that is a big money guy that just puts his own company name on the side of his car are not the same as a guy like Stevie or Lyle, okay? Because that guy doesn't have to worry about sponsors going away or any of those kinds of things. It's a tax write-off. He gets to put his name, on the side of the car, and that's good. And there's nothing wrong with that. So the issue is that you have to get all of the team owners that don't have to be that committed to be that committed, right? They need to want to support the guys like Lyle and Stevie bad enough to go to bat for them and to be a part of this. And that's one of, Pro Mod drag racing is amazing. The parity in the class is always doing this and that, which I know the drama, some fans like it, some fans don't. That's been tough. My hat is off to Lonnie Grimm and the entire NHRA tech staff for what they do to try and keep the parity there. And it works a lot of times. And then every once in a while it doesn't. And that just is what it is. But it's one of those things where when you're talking about a class that has half of the field really is a different kind of owner than the other half, it means that their priorities are different. And because of that, it means that their interaction with NHRA and what they want to bring to the table for NHRA is going to be different as well. So it's a challenge. It really is.
Chad, you were at the Texas Stampede of Speed and were able to witness, from what I understand, just about the whole gamut there. What do you think about what the Texas Motorplex is doing? And is it a model that maybe not full scale, but most tracks should possibly look at, get their community involved, and make a race bigger than even what it was?
I think it's great. I mean, I know you guys saw what it was like. And for those people at home that, maybe aren't familiar, at Ennis at the Texas Motorplex, they started the Stampede of Speed a few years ago. And it literally starts the weekend before the NHRA national event. And so with the NHRA national event and all the things that they're doing, it's like 12 days or something like that of action going on. And because it's Texas, they're able to do some stuff that you maybe wouldn't do everywhere, but they literally put on a rodeo. They put on a big country music concert. I can't remember who it was that played this year, but it was big name, talent. And then they hold multiple drag races leading up to the national event. And they do that, obviously, to put seats, in the grandstands and to sell more tickets and do all those things, but also to provide more for their racer, right? So the racers come in and they can race multiple times leading up to the national event. That's always good, because the one thing that some of the divisions are not able to do or don't do is schedule divisional races close to the national event. So like in Las Vegas, the divisional is right before the national event or right after. It's dependent on the year. And so you end up with all these sportsman guys that stay, and then other big money bracket races that'll be at the same time. And so, God, in November, they've got Streetcar Super Nationals, divisional race, the national event, and their Thanksgiving bracket race that all happen like boom, 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 boom. And so it's cool because, everybody doesn't have to stay there the entire time. But if you haul your rig out there, race for the weekend, you jump a quick flight home for cheap and leave your rig and everything there at the racetrack. And then 5 days later, fly back and race again. It's a pretty cool deal. So, that's sort of what the Stampede of Speed accomplishes as well. But also they take it to the next level and they put on crazy stuff like the Scotty Palmer Nitro Sideshow, right? So literally it was any car on the property that burned nitro that wanted to go down the racetrack. All you had to do was go over to Scotty and say, hey, I want in. And he was all over it. So we had Nitro Pro Mods. We had Nostalgia Fuel Funny Cars, Nostalgia Top Fuel Dragsters. We had Big Show cars. We had all kinds of stuff going down the racetrack. And the cool thing with that, like, I'm spoiled, right? I'm a California guy. I've been, doing nostalgia drag racing for years. We've, live streamed every nostalgia drag race there is. And it's so awesome. And Bobby can tell you you get spoiled, right? I'm used to nostalgia funny cars in California and that area. I mean, there's 60 or 70 or 80 of them. They're everywhere, right? But you come to Texas and we're there and we had 6 or 7 nostalgia nitro funny cars that came out for Scotty's Sideshow on Monday night, where there were a ton of people there to watch. The crowd was great. We had a great time. Dude, people were losing their mind. Stevie Fast Jackson was losing his mind because he was looking at, Raymond Beadle's funny car running. And I'm looking at him like, why are you that excited about this? And then I realized, because he doesn't see these things. I mean, and it's Stevie. I mean, he's been around everything. So, there's just a lot going on there. Then there was the Outlaw Pro Mod race, which Stevie was in, obviously, in Whiteley's Corvette with the Roots blower on it. There's just a ton of stuff that goes on. And really, it's just thinking outside the box. So they do a race every single day except Wednesday before the national event. And everybody loved it. I mean, it's just cool as hell. So if you're anywhere in the Texas area, you got to come to the Stampede of Speed in the fall. It's great. Hopefully I'll be back out there doing some announcing for that this year as well. It's fun. It's a really, really fun event. And I hope that racetracks everywhere take a bit out of that playbook. The truth is, if you own a racetrack, the only way to make money with it is to have it open as many days as possible and have paying people coming to it. So, figure out ways to do that. I just had this conversation with the guys that are running I-30 Dragway here in the Dallas area now, about having car show nights and about inviting car show guys to the drag races and giving them, a cheap place to park and hang out and, hang out with their buddies and all that, and maybe get one run down the drag strip as part of their entry. Everybody doesn't want to drag race, but everybody wants to go down the racetrack once or twice, so take advantage of that. I think racetracks all around the country can make some more money if they got creative and what have you. And if all of us will remember to support our local drag strips, not just the big ones that we go to, because, it's got the big name event, go to a regular Thursday night or Friday night or whatever at your local drag strip and, buy an entry and buy a hot dog and a beer. It helps them out. It's good for everybody.
Amen. Go to Test and Tune, go to the points day, go to the regional, go to the divisional, go to the what don't always have to be a doggone freaking national event. Go to the drag strip.
Agreed. In fact, truthfully, some of the best drag racing you're ever going to see is not at an NHRA national event. I mean,
For sure.
I'm not dogging on an NHRA national event. I love it. It's a spectacle. But if you really want to see drag racing and you want to see it up close and personal, dude, go to your local. You want to know? You go to Extreme Raceway Park here in just south of Dallas. Okay, XRP is the nicest 8th mile drag strip in the country. Okay, the place is badass. Sundays is the big day there, dude. Every Sunday it's packed, and it's their like grudge and test night, dude. They'll have a bunch of grudge cars show up for an unofficial race where everybody's doing a big buy-in and there's real money on the line. It's badass, dude. It's great drag racing.
For sure. Look, Mocan Dragway, Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos there, and the energy of that place with those fans who are some of the most rabid fans I've encountered in drag racing, it is a great event. And you don't need the national event atmosphere or cars or characters there. It's great drag racing in its own right.
It is. And I think that people sometimes forget about the other fans in racing, and it doesn't matter whether it's drag racing or NASCAR or whatever, right? Whatever you're into, we sometimes get blinders and we think everybody's into the same thing we are. I took Lyle Barnett, Leah Pruitt, Tony Stewart, Kurt Johnson, and several of Tony and Leah's crew to Yellow Belly Dragway here in Dallas before the national event in the fall last year. And if you don't know Yellow Belly, as the locals, we all call it the gut, but it is an absolute outlaw drag strip. There is nothing about it that's normal. There is not enough room for 2 cars to come around the corner from the staging lanes at the same time. So one has to go first and then the other to get in the water. The space between the lanes when you're sitting in the water box is feet, as in like 3. The starting line is nuts. It's crazy because it's so tiny. And we were there until 2:00 in the morning, loving every minute of it. You literally sit, you can park up against the fence on these concrete, sort of platforms, and the fence is there and the racetrack is right there. I mean, you're 2 feet from the cars as they go by. It is nuts. It's not nearly as nice as a real racetrack in so many ways, and yet the place is packed to the gills on Thursday nights. Thursday nights is the night at the gut, and it is crazy how many cars are there and big money changing hands and all of that. And again, I brought, NHRA team owner, multi-time winner in every goddamn car he's ever been in, Tony Stewart and Leah there. And we had a great time eating awesome tacos, drinking beer and watching drag racing, betting on the starting line and having a great time. And it was awesome. And it's just another example of another racetrack to go and support. And you should just support any of them you got. And if you don't have a drag strip around you, but you've got a circle track, go there, dude. There's nothing wrong with dirt in your beer. It's good.
It is. It's good.
So, I mean, Chad, you've done it all. You've announced, you've partnered and had a podcast with Lyle. For you, what is it? What is it about racing? I mean, you just mentioned circle track racing. What is it about racing that's drawn you in and has kept you into it for so long?
I grew up in Northern California and near Fremont, which became Baylands Raceway Park later in life. And my dad was a drag racer. I mean, that's, he bought a 68 Camaro Z28 car in 1968, brand new, still has it. was an NHRA stock eliminator car most of its life. I grew up with stock eliminator racing. We weren't, we didn't travel very much, but we did it, and we had fun. I have a 69 Camaro convertible that was an NHRA stock eliminator world championship car that we bought later. It's set, 11 national records. It's, got a bunch of history. So I grew up with racing, and I was the guy that's all I cared about was cars growing up. My parents were, you can read, you got to read. We don't care what you read, but you got to read. And so I had Hot Rod magazine subscriptions and Carcraft and National Dragster. The Dragster was the first thing I ever read, I'm sure, like regularly. And so I grew up with NHRA drag racing, and I was, I always a fan, stock, super stock, pro stock, all of that, when in 2001, I got my pro stock license, at Roy Hill School in Houston. I showed up, I had never been quicker than 12:20s in the quarter. Showed up to get my pro stock license. And it was really funny because, Roy gave me a bunch of crap, and if you know Roy, he's a pain in the ass, but he gave me a bunch of crap and said, no, you should get your super comp license. And at the time I made a lot of money. And I said, I didn't come here to get a, super comp license. I came here to get a pro stock license. And he said, well, nobody whose dad doesn't own a pro stock car has ever got their pro stock license in one class. And at the time, the class was $5,000. I don't know what it is now, but it was $5,000 then. And I said, okay. I said, well, your next class is in 2 weeks. Do you want me to pay ahead now, or are we gonna wait until we get through the weekend? And the last day of that class, I got my pro stock license, and it was because that's what I wanted to do, and I've raced at Bonneville. I've done a lot of drag racing. I've road raced. I've done a ton of stuff, not nearly enough yet, but a ton. And it's just always been my passion. And so even though my world, from a business perspective for a long time had nothing to do with cars, I decided at one point the money didn't matter and all that. I wanted to do something that was more fun. And that was a horrible, horrible financial decision. But it, it was good. It got me to where I am, and it's, it's fun. And I built hot rods for a long time, and I built a car that got me famous. And that's literally how it all started. And it's fun. It's great. There's, people can play golf, or people can do whatever other sports. I literally don't care. I didn't know the Super Bowl was last Sunday until 2 days before. That's not uncommon. I didn't know who was playing in it until I got there. And then I was like, ooh, Fletcher Cox, cool. I'm like, hey, Fletcher, I know a football player. He's the only one. I don't know the rest, whatever. So I don't have anything else. This is what I do. It's cars all the time, And so there are a lot of people that are out there that are watching that are the same way. And that's, why I think I'm relatable to everybody. And the other thing is, as you can tell, I'm pretty opinionated. I don't want to be negative, right? There's no reason to be nasty or negative to people. We can all respect each other. But at the same time, when I think something's going right, I absolutely make sure they get all the praise. And when I think somebody's doing something wrong, I'm the guy that's like, hey, is there any way I can help you make this right? And I think that the more of us that do that, the better off it'll be for racing, So it's my passion. I think it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, come on, tire smoke, nitro, right? I've always said that the finest smells on earth, right, are bacon, nitro, and tire smoke. Or race fuel, methanol, I don't care. Whatever, any fuel, tire smoke, bacon. Awesome.
Ken, I can certainly agree with that statement. And you mentioning more to do and plans to do, bucket list motorsports items. Like for me, Isle of Man TT, that's at the top. Want to experience that and see that. What's at the top of the list for you?
Dude. That is a great one to have on the list, dude. Oh my God. I've been really fortunate. I've been able to go to like the big giant bucket list races, right? Like I've been to, Bonneville a bunch of times, right? I go to Bonneville almost every year. I've raced at Bonneville. I've been 238 on the salt backwards. I've been to the Baja 1000. I've been to, IndyCar races. I've been to all these different things, road racing of all kinds, etc. Sure, I'd love to go to Monaco for the Grand Prix. I think that would be badass. I think, I don't know, there's a ton of races I'd love to go to. That list is really long. But for me, man, I've spent so much time doing, live streaming races and covering races and announcing races and doing all these things instead of racing at races. And so for me, I'm trying to finish up a new shop that I'm building with my parents on our land that we bought here in Waxahachie, Texas. And when we get that done, then my cars are all coming back in the shop and they are all going under the knife to get this fleet of stuff I have running so that I can go do some racing. So, me and Lyle and Biggin and all the guys, we have plans. Biggin got his car up and running and out to sick week this week, which is awesome. But there's a lot of racing I've got left to do. So while I'd like to go to some other cool events around the world, because I love to travel, my big priority for this year is going to be getting race cars ready so that in late 2023 or 2024 we can be racing again. So that's where I'm at.
Seeley, he might know some of the secrets of where my car's at. Who knows? No one knows.
Well, and they are going to remain secrets because you just said secret and kept it classified as such.
I
Secrets
see
are
where
good
you
as long as you don't share them with people.
Okay.
It's like committing a crime.
Okay, now
dude.
we
You
have
don't ever get a partner in crime. That's how you go to jail.
Okay.
You're going to commit a crime. You just do that shit on your own, dude.
All right. So I've got a question for you,
Okay.
Chad. So say I text you, Chad, a picture of a hot rod.
Yes.
Is there a bro code or a racer code that says we just don't share this? No one needs to know. Or do I have to put?
By the way, I text
with only two other people. With only two other people. So if I text you and Lyle a picture,
yes.
Is there a racer / bro code that says you don't? There's not 4 people in that group.
Yes, there is. There is a bro code.
There's only 2.
Yeah, if I sent you and Lyle a picture of my 56 and it was on the chassis table, getting the cage in it, and and the new 9-inch and a bunch of stuff done to it, if I haven't posted it on social, then you don't get to post it on social. That's the way it is, right? Basically, right? Like,
That's, and hold on. And Lee, you have to listen to that even more because he has beard.
And here's it's just like you don't post. I'll be nice. Never mind. Just know. Yes. Yeah. Hey, there's other way. I was going another place. I'm not going to go there. Bobby wouldn't like it.
But Sam, Larry has better hair than all of us.
Yeah, but Larry doesn't grow a beard. He just grows like the part right here. And I'm not going to say what that is because this is a community show.
It's a flavor saver.
Everyone out there.
It's a flavor
God
saver.
Damn you, Chad. God damn you. There we go. We're demonetized for tonight. I don't know.
It takes way more than that, dude. We're monetized, and it takes a lot more than that to get demonetized. Don't worry. I know.
Takes what Fletcher Cox says on his episode.
There you go. But it's Fletcher. What are you going to do?
But, well, you can't. I mean, 1, you're not going to run away from him. 2, you're not going to run towards him.
No.
So, yeah.
Yes, Fletcher. Whatever you say, Fletcher. Right? I'm afraid of you. It's a good thing you're really nice.
Speaking of that, you know who Fletcher needs to introduce to drag racing?
Who?
62.
I don't know who that is.
Jason, what is his last name? Kelsey?
I don't know. I don't know sports. What is he?
I know you don't know football, but he's the dude. If you want to watch some epic that's going to pump you up before a drag race or before you go and announce with Al Tucci you need to watch Jason Kelsey's Super Bowl speech from the Eagles.
Okay. Oh, I got it. I looked it up. Okay, I'll watch this later. Okay. I'll watch it later.
And you know,
and I'll get back.
You need to do you should do a YouTube live, like, since you don't watch, sports, you should do a YouTube live, like, review, like, first reaction of that.
Dude, I could do that for TikTok too. It'd be great. Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm with you. That'd be awesome. Okay, I'm down. I'll watch it and see. So, I mean, how far away from being alive is your car, though? I mean, since he already ruined it.
Well, Lee, you might as well show the picture now. I gave you permission. Oh, I thought you chewed it up.
No, I went to go find it, and I don't have it anymore. I deleted it off the system.
That's awesome.
But if you want to go back 2 episodes with Larry Dixon, no, the episode before Larry Dixon, you can see it posted like several times. So just go back to that episode.
Gotcha.
Here, I'll just send you a picture right now.
Okay. I was gonna I literally you're gonna laugh. I literally was doing a search for a Mustang on like just a Google Images search, and I was just gonna go, hey, can I share this right here? I have no idea what your car even looks like. I was totally just gonna make it up and go, here it is.
Yep. No, I mean it's not far off. It's
good.
It needs some TLC.
My where are you sending it to me?
Well, I don't know.
My 56 Chevy Rusty is like it looks like you drug it out of a field this morning, and it's cool as hell. I love that car, but it's been a street car forever, and it's totally been neglected. It's been sitting for several years, and it's one of those deals where it needs a bunch of love, and so that's what I'm gonna do that car up this year. It's gonna get a cage and back halved a little bit, and a 9-inch and a mini tub, so it'll hold a 28 1050 and become my drag and drive no prep car. So it should be fun.
I think we need to get Lee a car.
Lee, what would you want to be your car? If you had to, what's Lee's dream car? Like if you were going, okay, I'm going on Marketplace tonight. I'm going to buy something that I could make into the baddest door car I could want. What would it be?
It's two things. It's either got to be a Mercury Cougar or a Capri.
Okay. Now, I love you on the Capri. The Cougar, doesn't do it for me that much, although my dude Neil Sabo loves them. Okay, but the Capri, I dig. Because the Capri is even more rare to see than a 4i Fox body Mustang. So the Capri is like the 4i Fox body's weird sister, but she's fun weird. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
so I approve of that.
You see all these Mustangs.
Yes.
I'm like, where's the Capri?
Yes.
Dude, you know how many? Okay, I'm not even gonna lie to you, and I'm just gonna tell you this straightforward. You know how many Capris there actually are that just have Mustang badges on them?
Oh, probably. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
And the only reason why I know this because in the last 2 years, there's been guys trying to buy VIN numbers. I've actually had a guy ask me to buy my VIN just so he could have a title that says his is, and he goes, dude, I'll trade you for my Capri. And I'm like,
yeah,
but that's not what I have. Like I have an 87 Mustang. Like I'm not, and I mean, guys are talking for a VIN number. They want $800 to $1,000 just for a VIN so they can say they have a Mustang, which it doesn't freaking matter. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah. Who cares? Nobody cares. You know why? Because the announcer says whatever the hell you put on the tech card. Like it doesn't matter, so, but you're right. Cause I've seen a bunch that have Capri taillights, but then they've got a 4i nose on them or whatever. And you're like, okay. But I think a Capri is cool as hell. I'm totally down with that. I approve wholeheartedly.
So, I mean, you could literally go, and to the common eye, if you're not a car guy, you're going to look at that and go, oh, that's a Fox body Mustang.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and see, again, I'm a diehard Chevrolet guy, but I think a Fox body is like a universal race car. Like that's where it is now. Like it doesn't afford anymore. It's a Fox body. Like it belongs to a higher power, right? It is like God, on the seventh day, God created the Fox body. Like that's what it is. I don't know how many days there were, but but that's what it is. So it is the universal race car. I don't own one. But I love one, right? Beer Money. It's our dude. I love him. He's like our little buddy. He's our ugly little buddy, but he's so good at what he does. And so, so I love that. I would own a Fox body. But see, if I were to own a Fox body, mine would not be a Mustang, wouldn't be my first choice. If I was buying a Fox body to build, my first choice would be the original Fox body, the very first Fox body, which is a Fairmont. And if it was a wagon, oh my God, it would be the best thing ever. So, yes. And I'm a G-bot. I love G-bodies. I don't own one, but I want one. I have cars, I have a lot of cars that don't run or aren't finished or whatever. I have that illness. But dude, I would have another 100 cars if I had money. Like if I won one of those big giant lottos, first off, 2-car team, pro mod and pro stock, 4 cars, because we'd have 2 pro stockers and 2 pro mods, me and Lyle racing everybody, kicking everybody's ass. It'd be awesome. But I also would be hoarding, like the amount of cars that would be showing up at my shop would be ridiculous. So yeah, I'm in. Fairmont wagon, you can have the Capri, and then you've got the Mustang. See, it would be the trifecta of Foxy goodness.
Hey, but before we go any further, Lee, did you hear what he said? He said 4-car team, him and Lyle. So that means there's still gonna be, room for another higher driver.
No. He and I are both racing pro stock, and he and I are both racing pro mod.
Which you can do per the rules because pro mod's not a professional.
Correct. No. Dude, I love you right now, Lee. That is the loophole, bitches. You can. Yes. Yep. The other thing is, if I won $1 billion, NHRA will do whatever the hell I want, because I would walk in and go, okay, yeah, y'all are cute. Go away. You're staying. You're not staying. I'm writing you a check. I own this now. And oh, by the way, yeah, you can race all the cars. Who cares? Like, that's a dumb rule to have. It made sense back in the day, makes no sense now. Right now, if Stan Shelton wants to show up and have a pro mod and a top fuel car and a funny car, and he wants to drive all 3, why in hell wouldn't you let him? And you know what? The biggest screw up they would do is not having a camera guy following him 24 hours a day, right? Because what you want to see is him hoofing it like his life depends on it to try and get back up to the starting line to run, winded, getting in the car. Yes. Hello. That's what drag racing needs, right? What the other thing drag racing needs, which you will see this year at the Midwest Drag Racing Series with me, is drag racing being announced as God intended, which means not from in the booth all the time. Drag racing should be announced from the starting line. Like it should. I've done it for years. It's amazing. It's so much better.
Drag racing needs to be announced from the stands too.
I agree.
Honestly,
wholeheartedly.
There is some of the funniest people, like taking pictures, like going around to these national events and going around and stuff, and you're sitting there taking a picture and you hear the bickering between the two guys. Oh no, this guy is this, and you're like, dude, like,
oh yeah,
you don't know if these dudes are gonna fight over, and the only thing that's stopping them is they're both sharing a thing of popcorn and peanuts, and you're like, all right, if that wasn't there, I think they'd be going to blows at each other.
Right. Well, and the other thing about it is, like, I used to announce, like, way back in the day, I announced the NHRA Unleashed series, which was amazing drag racing, right? And we had so much fun, but we went and I didn't have any limitations on what I could do there. I was the only announcer. I would announce from typically 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning until 1 or 2 in the morning. Okay, that's how long the race days went. Each day was a separate race, Saturday and Sunday. It was awesome. But I literally would walk down the wall announcing while the car did the burnout, and in many cases would hop off the wall and back the car up while announcing, right? And I mean, we had so much fun with that, and the fans were great. I mean, midnight, 12:30 in the morning, Gainesville, Florida. It's insanely cold. Track temps like 55 degrees, and we're sending radial cars down the racetrack, and they're hooking. And it was so much fun standing there. Literally, there's like 200 fans that are left because, again, it's 12:30 in the morning. And I'm talking to those fans, right? You're asking them questions. They're responding. The interaction is awesome. People love it. They get into it. It's not the same as announcing with a DJ and all that on the starting line and doing it that way. Like, that's cool and it's fun in some ways, but man, you got to engage with people. And that's the way to get people to feel like they're part of the drag race instead of just watching the drag race. And so for me, that's part of the fun of announcing, it's why when I'm announcing, I'm getting text messages from people all over the facility, racers, crew chiefs, etc. When I'm saying, oh, they had a problem the last round and they're probably going to have to do this or this, I'm getting a message that said, yeah, it's the second one. We broke this. We did that. Because people know me and they know that not only do I know how to announce these races, but also that we race. That's what we do. I've, built cars, tuned on cars, serviced cars, do all these things. Lets you have a different kind of understanding of what's going on, and it makes it more relatable, and I think one of the great things that drag racing brings to the table that you're not going to find with other racing is the access, right? Because as a fan, you get to walk right up to a car in the pits. I mean, yeah, you're a few feet away or what have you, but I'll tell you that if you come to the pits when me and Lyle are running, and you've got a little kid with you and we're not warming the car up or actively working inside the car at the moment, then dude, we're jamming kids in the seat. We're taking pictures. We're making sure mom and dad are having a good time. We owe it to everybody. I mean, it's what we got to do when we were kids. So we should be able to, help other people do that as well. And so anything we can do, giving away stuff, man, I love that. I'll be giving away t-shirts and stuff at the Midwest Drag Racing Series this year. Like you wouldn't believe. Keith Haney's already losing his mind about how much stuff I'm going to give away. But, hey, it's what we got to do. Got to make sure everybody has a good time. It's what it's all about. So come on out in a month. It's a month from now, the first race, Midwest Drag Racing Series season opener, Extreme Raceway Park here in lovely Texas. Come on down, watch some great racing, have some fun, and buy me a beer to put in my Buc-ee's cup.
How else do you close the show like that?
I wish I knew somebody at Buc-ee's because they're very hard to get a hold of because I really have some stuff I need them to sponsor. I'm telling you.
You know who the hardest people? I think Buc-ee's, Yingling, and I don't know who else would be the third hardest to get a hold of.
Dude, Yingling has been so terrible. Like, we have worked so hard, trying to get Yingling on board. I mean, if you knew the plan that Lyle and I put together for driving to Yingling from his place in North Carolina and where we will, what I wanted to do at liquor stores along the way, you would die laughing. But it would, I mean, we may end up trying it anyway. It'll probably cost us a couple $1,000s, and it probably won't result in anything, except it would make a huge splash on social, and people would love us for it. So we'll see, But like I said, getting sponsors is not easy. Not at all. I mean, because, not everybody can be as good looking as Lee is,
Wow. Not
well, ladies and gentlemen.
You don't get much sponsorship on these looks either. Chad, look, been good having you on. We'll certainly have to have you again. See you at a track soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening out there in the great state of Texas. And we can all look forward to some great drag racing in 2023.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. I really do appreciate it. You guys do a great job with the show. I'd love to be on anytime you want me. Just let me know. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank
See y'all
you.
later.
Well, Lee, we've done it again. Successful show. Great to yak it up about drag racing and just talk about all the different stuff that we can do that we're looking forward to. It, like you said, I mean, you hear it. I can hear the burnouts coming in the distance. You know, they're coming down the hall. It's like that dreaded time of the year where you hear the Christmas music start rolling in, but this time of the year you're starting to hear that nitro and you're starting to feel a rumble in your chest. So I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. I know you're ready to get back out of track. So man, thanks again for having me on with you. Bobby Bennett, thanks again for having me as a co-host on this show. Really appreciate it. To all you guys, to Chad and to JR Todd, thank you guys for coming on tonight. I'm Slammin' Sam. I'm only one part of this power hour, and my buddy over there, the Monday Morning Racer. But Lee, calling it a night, man. We've talked drag race and yacked it up enough. It's go time.
That it is. Folks, that's Slammin' Sam. I'm Lee Kraft, the Monday Morning Racer. This has been the Competition Plus Power Hour. Hey, we'll end with a great idea here. Scott Malpass says the Buc-ee's Drag and Drive. Every checkpoint is Buc-ee's. I like that. That would get you to a lot of states, or you could just do it in Texas, whichever one. I like that idea. Hey, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my show, Between the Slicks, this week. I've got Julie Natus on. We'll be talking with that young lady. She went full pull in a funny car and got her license down in Houston Raceway Park this past week. We'll be talking to her about that and her plans in her Randy Meyer Racing dragster. That will be Thursday night. This has been Tuesday Night Competition Plus Power Hour. To each and every one of you watching, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.